Hey y'all, thank you so much for tuning in to another video. My name is Sharanda. If you are new here, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope and pray that you stay to the very end. If you are subscribing, thank you so much. If you are returning, thank you so much for returning. I love you all to pieces. So we're going to go ahead and jump into the video. So this video is about stop worrying about being perfect all the time. So some of my videos, I can openly admit and be honest that they were not delivered and posted in the right amount of time that it should have been. The reason being is because I was worried about a spot on my face, or my hair being out of place, or me looking tired by the eyes, or something like that. And God had to convict me concerning that. He did. He had to convict me concerning that, because I was holding on to messages that were supposed to have been out, and they were not. And so I realized everything is not going to be perfect. And I guess you could say that I have like a bit of perfection in me. You know, just wanting everything to be perfect. That's what I'm trying to say. And I realized that everything is not going to be perfect. Everything is not going to be perfect. I had my first speaking engagement at church. And this is crazy, because God brought that thing around full circle. Okay, I did a video about the full circle thing. You all can go back and look at that. I turned down, a few years ago, I turned down 2 speaking engagements because I was so scared. And I'm talking about terrified. Okay, I had the opportunity to speak at a women's shelter, and I couldn't do it. That was after I had wrote my very first self-published book about my life. And I know it was a God thing. I know it was a God thing, because I'm going to tell y'all this. Right after I finished my last draft for that book, and this was years ago, but I'm gonna show y'all. I'm telling y'all this so y'all can know, y'all can see the move of God. As soon as I finished wrapping the book up, I had looked at it so many times, edited it so many times, but this was the final draft. I was about to get up from my computer chair, and I couldn't. God took me in a vision, and he showed me speaking in front of people. And it scared me so bad. It scared me so bad. I was like, ooh, like that was a lot. Okay, that was a lot, right? But I realized, like, after I wrote that book about my life, that a weight had lifted off of me. Like I had got it all off of me, because I had been through so much in my life that it was just so heavy. And that let me know that writing was my therapy. And so, but that's one thing. God gave me the vision of me speaking in front of people. And then me and my husband, I think he was my fiance at the time, we had went to JCPenney, and we were looking at jewelry. I think we may have been looking at rings. I'm not sure. And it was a lady at the counter, and she was the director of the women's shelter. Didn't know it. We just thought it was just a random lady standing there at the counter with us looking at the jewelry at the same time. This is the move of God. And my husband was bragging on me. He was like, I don't even know how they even got on this subject. I don't even know. But my husband was bragging on me. He was like, yeah, she just wrote her. This is my wife. She wrote her first book about her life. And then the lady was all intrigued, and she was like, well, I'm a director of the women's shelter. Y'all, the shelter was so close to my house. Now, we were at JCPenney, which was about 30 minutes from home. But we go to JCPenney and we run into this lady that is a director at a women's shelter. She gave me her business card and she was like, I would love for you to come speak to the women. Y'all ain't call that lady. I did not call that lady. Okay? I was not fixing to call that lady. I already knew when she said, I want you to come speak, that it was an automatic no. I wasn't finna do it. I was not finna be, like, I didn't care what vision God had given me. I was not finna go speak. I was not fixing to go speak. I wasn't finna say nothing. Okay? I was just being honest. No. Okay? Not me. Okay? As people say, not my ministry. But it was my ministry, because look at me now. Okay? I mean, I'm not like doing speaking engagements and all this stuff, but I am speaking on here. All right? So God like brought it around like full circle. And even though it was a book that I probably, like it's your first book. And so, of course, you're proud of your first book. But at the same time, I feel like I could have done much better with the book, like promoting it more and all of that stuff. And then my husband told me, he was like, Sharanda, that book was for you. Like, to release all of what I had been through and for me to heal, But y'all, I didn't call that lady back. I did not call that lady back. And I knew that I was not going to call that lady back. But then, many years later, God told me to write the children's book. It's Me, God, Your Child. So if you want to read that book, that's on Amazon. If you have small children, y'all go on Amazon and y'all get that book. It's $10. You can afford $10. You spend money on everything else. That book is on Amazon, and God had told me to donate, to not charge my church for those books. Okay? Because I was, at the time when I had published the book, I was thinking in my head like a price that I could charge everybody, charge my church members. And God immediately said, do not charge them. And so I had to be obedient. Yes, I had to take my money and publish the book or whatever, but God provides, okay? And so I gave many books away. We got a lot of kids at our church, about probably 40, 50, somewhere around there, probably more kids. And so they all smaller kids, they got a book, okay? I did what God told me to do. And so, about a year later, I was approached to speak to the kids, okay, about praying while at home, to make sure that your mind is healthy while you're at home. Like, no matter what you're going through, you can go to God about it. You can pray about it, okay? Even if it's your parents that are coming at you some kind of way, or you're going through something at school, or you bring it home, or whatever the case may be, that you can pray about it. Okay, that was my speech. And so it was different for me because that was my very first speaking engagement. And this just goes back to God giving me that vision of speaking in front of people. It came back around full circle. And I know God ain't done. I know God ain't done. It was like it feels like almost like a test. It felt like a test. It showed me that God stands firm on his promises. Because if God gave you a vision, that's a promise. Okay? If it came from God, that's a promise. It's going to come forth. Okay? And even though you may not be ready when it comes, you got to pray about that thing. You got to pray about it, because I could have showed up at that women's ministry years ago and probably changed some women's lives. But because I was afraid, the women never got a chance to hear my story. All right? And that is deep. All right? Because these are women that have been through some things, on drugs, homeless, and all of this stuff. But yet I kept my mouth closed and I didn't say anything. All right? So they didn't receive their deliverance that I held on to. And so I have to deal with that heaviness of that. All right? And I hope and pray that somebody else came along and was able to do what I couldn't do at that particular time. Because I didn't even think about to even pray and ask God, like, God, help me with this. God, give me the words to say to these women. God, help me. Give me the strength, the courage, the boldness to be able to talk to these women. I wasn't even thinking about that. What I was thinking about is that no, flat out no, I'm not finna do it. I don't care nothing about God giving me no vision. I am not fixing to speak to nobody. Okay? That was my thinking. And that was the wrong thinking to have. Because it stopped the women from receiving whatever it is that God wanted them to receive from what he has brought me through. And so when I said yes to speak at the church to the kids, now I can do it. Now I can do it. I wasn't able to do it before, but now I can do it. Yes, I spoke to kids 6 through 11, and I spoke to 2 different age groups at 2 different times, but it was the same message that I gave because it was broken up into different classrooms. And so, but when I got up there, I realized, because, you're standing up there in the front and then the kids are sitting down. But what I realized is that I can do this. I can do this. And God allowed me to say yes to a speaking engagement with children first. Because he knows that I need baby steps. I need baby steps. I need baby steps with this because it's not easy. It's not easy standing in front of people. But when I got up there, y'all, I will say this. When I got up there, I was nervous. I was. I don't know if the kids noticed that I was nervous. But I made sure that I crafted my message in a way that they were talking back to me. As, like almost like I was the teacher and they were the students. And the teacher was asking the kids questions to make sure that they were retaining the information that was being taught. And so I noticed that with the older kids they took hold of what I was saying. And then the younger kids, it was like one or two of them that were really into what I was saying. And then, but you know, the other ones was just really, really too young to really to fully understand. But they were present. And I know that they heard something that I said. And so I was just grateful for that opportunity. And that may be my last time. You know, that may be my last time speaking. I don't know. That may be my last speaking engagement. I don't know. You know. But my yes brought me to that speaking engagement. Okay? Because I could have very well still said no many years later. Okay? So I'm telling y'all this to let you all know that no matter what, if it's meant for you to be doing it, God will bring it back around full circle. All right? So that is all I have for you all on today. Please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next video.